for tuning in today. My name is Patrick Gardner. I'm a loan officer with Guarantee Mortgage and the Vice Chair of the Education and Events Committee. On behalf of the committee, I'd like to welcome you to our Health and Wellness series. Today is our third and final interactive workshop on the Wellness series. As we get started with the webinar today, I wanted to share some logistics for our meeting. All Zoom audience viewers are on mute throughout the entirety of the presentation. The webinar is being recorded and will be available to view on Monday in the SFAR social video library. Audience participation is welcome today. Please chime in either via chat or through the question box. Please feel free to jump in and share your thoughts, feelings along the way. There will be a question and answer period at the end, but if you want clarification on anything that would be helpful, please chime in. The Wellness series was set up with the intention of offering general guidance for mental, physical, spiritual, and business health during the challenging time during shelter in place and dealing with COVID-19. We are on our third and final presentation today, Business Recovery and Thriving Through Crisis. I'd like to take a moment to sincerely and wholeheartedly thank our moderator and two speakers for taking the time out of their lives and businesses to coordinate this well-being workshop for the association membership. Their insight and wisdom has been a great support, and I am truly thankful for them and know the time and effort that they put into making this a good and fun and interactive conversation. So our mindful moderator for our wellness series is Mr. Justin Hedemark. He is going to start us off and move us through today's dialogue and discussion. Justin, it's all yours.
Thank you, Patrick. Jen, if we could move to the next slide, please. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar series finale, and thank you for sticking with us. And even if you did not get to attend our first two series installments, we will provide a brief recap at the beginning of today's installment. So you won't be left behind. We want to give you all of the tools and the abilities and emotional intelligence to move forward from here better and more grounded than before. So in order to do that, I would love if you would all join me in a mindfulness moment. And I incorporate this into my own practice, both as a realtor and as an attorney, because competing thoughts and emotions arise constantly. And coming at it from a grounded place is very helpful to best serve your clients. So Jen, if we could move to the next slide, please. I would like to ask all of you to join me in standing up wherever you are. Just stand up if possible and reach your hands to the sky and stretch and reach your hands up towards the sky or the ceiling. And take a big deep breath in as you wiggle your fingers and move your toes, and just feel that tension and ease flowing down from the hands through your arms, through your shoulders, and then through the rest of your body. And take one more big deep breath in, and let your arms fall down by your sides. And at this point, you can close your eyes, resume your seat, or stay standing. And once you've adopted your seated position with your back straight or standing with your arms by your sides, let's just take a moment to focus on any tension in the face. Let go of any tightness in your eyebrows, in your jaw, in your neck, in your shoulders. Just focus on that and release that. And notice how you may have been scrunching up your eyebrows or clenching your jaw or shrugging your shoulders. Just let that go. And take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale. And I want you to follow your breath just for the next 30 seconds. And notice on the in-breath and the out-breath where your breath changes. That pause between breathing in and breathing out. Just focus on that one point in between the breaths. That is the turning point from tension to release that lets the energy flow through your body. So as you go about your day today, keep in mind that you can stretch at any point. You can check in with the tension in your neck and your shoulders and release that, and focus on that turning point in your breath. And you can come to your day renewed, grounded, and ready to thrive. So let's take one more big deep breath in through the nose and release it and open your eyes. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for participating in that. Jen, if we could move to the next slide, please. I would like to recap our previous installments by just brief introductions. We have joining us today, Mr. Joel Love, a psychotherapist and CEO of Champions Mental Health, who's been sharing all about emotional intelligence with us. With him, we also have Livia Jenvey, who is a business coach and owner and operator of Jenvey Consulting, who is going to speak about all of the business strategies that we've gone through today. So Joel, Livia, thank you so much for joining us again. Would you like to say a brief introduction and hello to the audience?
Sure, yes. Hello, everybody out there. Looks like we got Ansley and Amy and Danita, Dina, Julie, Lauren, Lynn, Mary Patrick, just so many people that are chiming in and checking in, taking time to prioritize what is a corporate psychotherapist, what we're seeing being really emphasized from HR departments, CEOs on down, is the mental health and wellness alongside the mental health and business strategies that Livia is going to be able to really share with you all here today. But just you being proactive and how that aligns with thriving, both personally, interpersonally, but also in your business life. So just very happy to be here and bring my expertise and specialty, and looking forward to engaging with you all as well. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Joel. Livia, would you like to introduce yourself and say hello to our audience?
Yes, thank you. I'm super excited to be here again with everyone. Same as what Joel said, that I see just some great folks here. I'm excited, as a business coach, to see people who are ready to thrive in their business is phenomenal. So I know these are times that are uncertain, they can be a bit scary, but to see you here today and you are ready to get your business into a thriving state, it just shows who you are and shows how you will be able to get this going for yourself. So I'm just excited to be here, and I look forward to the discussion that we're going to be having today.
Excellent. I echo Patrick's sentiments. A huge shout out to SFAR for allowing us to organize this, and both of you for contributing your valuable time and expertise to help the members of the association as they move forward. Now we're going to get into our brief recap of our first two installments. Jen, if we could move to the next slide, please. And one more, there we go. So our first installment was disbelief and acceptance. So this was all around right after the shelter in place order came down. Things were just, we don't know what's happening. This is a brand new world. We have to adjust. We have to figure out what are we feeling? What are the things that are coming up in order to then progress and to grow? So I'd like Joel to jump in, and we can move to the next slide and discuss some of the things during our first installment on the emotional side that we discussed, Joel. So what stood out to you about our first installment that you'd like our audience to recall and also pay attention to?
Absolutely. So the first thing that we really focused on as far as an interactive piece, because we've been giving you all tools that you can use in your daily lives since that first one, and of course from today moving forward, was around emotional literacy. And from the slide that we can see that's the third one down there, connected to mental health conditions, which we'll get to in just a moment, and crushing mental health stigma. I like the power in there. It shows just a lot of agency that we in fact do have, and that you do have, to really dispel a lot of mental health stigma in mental health connected to mental health concerns that could be holding you or your family, your loved ones, or your clients back right now, which is we're going to get into later today. Is going to give you the opportunity to put your therapist hat on. So many of us right now are being called to pick up new skill sets, right? New skill sets in order to acclimate to the new environment that we find ourselves in today. And so I'm going to give you some tools that you can have in your tool belt as a realtor out there that can be used and be helpful for you. I want to check in with you all, actually as a real-time thing, as a callback to our first session, emotional literacy. So I just want you all to go inside, okay, and do a check-in. One feeling, how you're feeling right now. And I'll open it up to the panelists as well. And the thing when we talk about emotional wholeness and emotional literacy, oftentimes when we say emotional wholeness, they think of like whole grains and like all the good stuff. But emotional wholeness is a little bit more comprehensive than just what feels good. It's the things that feel bad or challenging. So this could be anger or fear or a level of stress or worry, anxiety, alongside feeling excited and calm and joyful, empowered, confident. So I want you folks out there in the audience just to check in with yourself, and you can hit the chat box, which I believe on your screen will be all the way to the bottom. Just says chat next to participants. I think that's what it is on yours. And go to the chat box and just type in one feeling word, not a whole, you don't have to put a whole paragraph, but just one feeling word. This is a strength-based exercise, and all of your feelings are welcome, but just to check in, right? Exactly. So having some worry come through, hopeful. Ansley says stressed. I love it when people say the negative, difficult one. I'm a therapist. I you know, that's what I love to see, because then we can see how do we work with that. But I love to see the positives as well. Stress and excitement. Also seeing motivated to continue growing. So just doing that internal check-in, right? Also doing a pulse on our community here today. Where are we at? Where are we at collectively, right? Ambivalent coming in from Lauren, okay? Checking in with myself. I think feeling a level of hopefulness as well. Trudging. I've never heard that feeling before in this exercise. No one has ever said trudging before. Dina, yes, very original, checking in, LOL. Okay, well, at least we got some laughter on that trudge, right? All right, so folks, please keep those coming. This is something for you, right? Many people, I'll not get long-winded, but many people grow up in homes and environments. So I'm biracial. I'm mixed with African-American and Scottish-Canadian, black and white. And so I can talk about both of those cultures. And neither of them really asked more directly, how are you feeling? And made room for all of the feelings that could be going on. And so for me, I had to go to psychotherapy to learn this skill set. It just wasn't a part of my cultures growing up to actually sit with and check, well, how are you feeling? And when we get into things like depression, okay, down, if you like a visual, depressed, right? Being pushed down. Well, what's being pushed down? Now we get into more simple terms. And it's oftentimes some of the more difficult feelings, the actual feelings that we're having. And when we start to name what those are, it can be a sense of relief. It can feel like something is washed over you, even though you're talking about difficult feelings, ideally with an empathetic person. So just want to put that out there as a bit of the recap. Mental health conditions, depression. We're seeing that depression and anxiety have been on the rise. People are uncertain about the markets, about family and relationship concerns, about their own health related to COVID-19. So seeing that on the rise. Mental health stigma. Many people think that something has to be deeply wrong with you or with them that they're just crazy if they are having a mental health challenge or if they want to go see a therapist. So just looking at how to reduce a lot of that it's really, therapy is really about talking about your feelings, talking about your thoughts in order to find healthier solutions. You're just lacking typically information, and that's what therapy mainly is. And the last thing is which is what we started with, emotional literacy. I'm telling you, I charge $150 an hour. That's average here in the Bay Area. That may sound high to you, that may sound low to you, but that's what it is. Works for me. And the clients come in and we talk about emotions, what we just did. And that can be an incredibly powerful and empowering practice that you can use to identify and center in, just like Justin's mindfulness practices on cutting through all of it. How am I truly doing and how am I truly feeling on the inside? It's one of the ways Patrick talked about spiritually going to the core of you and seeing what's there. And how that ties into last session and today's session is once you have that information, okay, you have choice on how you want to move from that place. But without that information, there could be a boulder in front of you that prevents you from taking action. So these are power tools. And I thank you all for giving them a try. And that was the update from session 1. I'm going to pass it off now. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jewel. And absolutely, the emotional awareness and literacy gives us the opportunity and the information to then choose how we're moving forward. And that choice is influenced by how we feel and also what we do about it. So there are 2 very key parts. And for the second key part, I'd like to bring in Livia. And Jen, if we could go to the next slide, please, to talk about some of the business steps that we identified during that disbelief and acceptance sort of portion in the first installment.
Thank you, Justin. Yeah, so, Jewel brought up such great points about, mental awareness because of the fear and worry that, when we first started this webinar series, there was a ton of anxiety that was out with everyone. And so when we got into you helping support you with the emotional awareness, we then were able to help start to decipher what could be the business strategies for you to start to look at what kind of actions that you can start to move forward with. And we discussed just looking at from economics, looking at, there was a worry that this was the same exact situation that most of us had experienced during 2008. Some of you may have been as realtors at the time. Some of you may have not have been. So it was a lot of fear, but we looked at the economic facts and that this is completely different. It's more of a downturn. It's more of a pause. And I wouldn't be surprised that, in history, this might be called the Great Pause in our economics, because we just see that with so much in our economy right now. And this is a benefit for those in real estate. So you as a business person in real estate, there's potential that, we're seeing that right now, actually. And we'll talk a lot about this later, about how there's a lot more potential for those in real estate right now because of this pause that we've seen that had happened with this virus. The options out there for you financially, making sure that, you took advantage of those so that you can make sure that you're set and taken care of financially throughout this. And then, with, reiterating what Jewel said, it's really helping take care of your emotionally, but also, yourself physically and mentally, and just what sort of actions or tasks that you can give to yourself is extra self-care for you during this time. Because as a leader of your own business, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself to be able to help serve others. And so we talked about how you can be able to give yourself that extra care, that oxygen that you need to be able to lead effectively during this time. And then it was just really talking about reaching out and connecting with your business customers. Even though this time it's sort of kind of up in the air, but it's still reaching out. You are a salesperson and it's all about you having that relationship with your customer. And we talked about that. So this was what really we sort of a very brief recap of what we talked about in our discussion for the first of our series now that we're in our third. So I go ahead and give it to you, Justin, so we can kind of go and recap on what we talked about the second time around.
Excellent. Thank you, Livia. And absolutely, putting the oxygen mask on myself first is key, because if I'm not there physically, mentally, or spiritually, I can't be there for my clients. So I think that is an excellent metaphor. And Jen, if we could move to the next slide, the second installment that we put on was all about adapting and innovating. Now that we've touched on the emotional literacy and awareness, as well as the business aspect of why that's important, how do we go about changing and bringing in those new practices to address the changing circumstances, and also to take care of ourselves so that we can effectively implement those changes? So if we could go to the next slide, Jen. Jewel, I'd love for you to chat briefly about the emotional component of the adapting and innovating webinar series that we put on last time.
Absolutely. So just bringing in Joseph Campbell, when we talk about Hero with 1,000 Faces, we talk about the archetypal journey. And I really love, Patrick, how you brought in the spiritual element. And I just want to translate that a bit, that there's this psychological roadmap, if you will, kind of roadmap of the psyche. And it's around transformation. And right now we're in a very transformational time. Would you agree? Things are changing. And in that change process, they talk about 3 steps, 3 stages. So the second workshop, second stage. But the first one is the call, right? It's the call to awareness, the call to action, the call to a journey, the call to a new life. Really, it's the call to transformation. And it's usually because something challenging has happened. And the hero or heroine of the story then goes out, right? Now, this one was very much thrust upon us with COVID-19. And sometimes that's kind of how it is. And it's answering the call. So we started off with that one with the first offering that we did. The second one relates to the second part of the hero's journey. And that is how you can really do battle with the new obstacles or the new challenges and skill up, right? Skill up. And so we looked at that in the second one. And so if you look at the last bullet point, the making friends with change, we're looking at some of the mindset shifts and some of the mental health practices that could help you in your transformational process. And then today we're going to look for, definitely a more application. But some of those were, how do you sit with the emotional reality of this new time? How do you sit with it? What are the wellness practices and tools that help you really sit with it, to see it as a friend and not just as a foe, and as a friend that's bringing you information on what to do next? So as opposed to suppressing it or trying to make it go away or put the blinders on, how do you actually welcome in this emotional discord? I'm saying it, I'm going right for it. How could you actually welcome it in and use that information to say, this is telling me that I have an opportunity and I may need to change right now. I may need to pivot right now in order to feel a level of comfort and a level of peace. Now we're in this time of uncertainty for sure. And at the same time, we have a high level of control and certainty of how we want to show up and how we want to respond. And that really ties into the piece we're going to be touching on today. But this middle piece was battling with it, working with it, struggling with it to find a new orientation to success at this time. So last time, some more of the emotional literacy, but deepening in your relationship with some of the discord, and letting that be information to inform you of, if I pivot what I'm doing, can it unlock more positive emotions? If I pivot online in certain ways, or how I present on camera. I know Livia knows her good side, Justin knows his good side on Kissy, like really quick. Can it help unlock a level of confidence, a level of positivity in you, right? So just really identifying some of the challenging emotions as friends giving you information that, just keep it real, that something is off, something needs to change in your behavior. And if you make those changes, figuring out what they are, right? You might have to test a few things out to see what provides you with results. you can feel better, and your customers and your clients can feel better. So that was just how we were able to weave in a deeper level of the emotional literacy, making friends with the change, the difficult feelings, with behavioral modification, behavioral shifts. It's an action-focused program, but it starts with insight. And so that was just a bit of a recap from session number 2. And I want to hand it over to Justin or Livia for the second part of that to bring that together into its wholeness.
That's great, Jewel. Yes, absolutely. Literacy, making friends with the emotions, giving voice to them and welcoming them in as a house guest and saying, yes, what are you trying to tell me? How can I receive that message? And then Livia transitioning that into the business aspect of things. Jen, if you could move to the next slide, please. We talked about being savvy and coaching and empowerment. And if you could just recap for the audience kind of some key pointers from that.
Yeah, it's, as I'm reiterating again, you are the leader of your business, and great leaders that you probably are very familiar with and you admire, they have to have that insight to be able to help them lead, especially in times of change and crisis. Change is not easy for any of us. We are habitable creatures as humans. We like to do our regular everyday habits, and when we're forced to change, it's difficult for us. So it's knowing how to have that insight about yourself and how to really empower you with that emotional awareness is when then you can take that ability to adapt and innovate so much quicker and easier as a leader of your business. And we talked about last time just being savvy, finding ways to get winning opportunities when you're incorporating change, looking at who you might be able to develop relationship with, what new things you can try. There's definitely the ability to, get online, do videos, but if you don't like to do videos, what are other ways to be able to do it? Then, being able to be a coach for your clients, for the buyers and sellers, and helping them adjust and deal with their anxiety and their stress and their concerns and uncertainty with this pandemic is really helping you be a greater leader for those that you are working with. And so it's helping you develop what kind of win-win scenarios you can consider or think about as you are reaching out and connecting with them. And then also, you're a salesperson out there and you're looking to be able to either sell property or get someone to buy a property. So you have a sales process currently that you do work each and every single day, but how do you empower that with utilizing the tips that you're learning from greater emotional awareness and helping bring in more emotional intelligence into the work that you do as a sales professional? And that empathy, not only empathy for yourself, but empathy for others and what they are going through to really help empower you so that you as a leader feel that you are grounded in what you're doing, even though there is a lot of uncertainty out there. So these were the actions that we talked about in our second wellness installment. And so we're going to dive into now as we're getting into the recovery and thriving bit of how we can take all of this great stuff that both myself and Jewel have shared about and how to help you emotionally and mentally and actions so you can be that leader for your business to recover really quickly and thrive phenomenally. And you being here today, I mentioned earlier, shows how committed you are as a leader in your business and how committed you are to really take what we are sharing with you today and run with it and really empower yourself further. So I want to go ahead and just give it back to Justin here for that.
Great. Thank you, Livia. And Jen, if we could go to the next slide, please. We're going to be talking specifically about opportunities for recovering and thriving in this pandemic. And Jewel and Livia both spoke at base level about getting in touch with reality, both emotionally for myself and yourself, and then as far as what's going on out there in economic factors, what's going on in the housing market. And there's a lot to be hopeful for. There's a lot to be optimistic about. And a few things I'd just like to key people into are that the data out there suggests that we are entering a delayed summer. The pause that Livia was talking about, it looks like that inventory is coming back. The numbers are coming back as far as listings and offers and sales. And people are starting to take advantage of that again, and albeit at a different time. But it looks like a V or a U-shaped recovery is what people are more optimistic about in the short term. So there is a short window where it looks like things are going up. on top of that, the economic models suggest that the number of people affected by unemployment are disproportionately on the lower income scale. Not to minimize any of the challenges that they're having at all, but just looking at the sheer numbers of who are the potential clients, who are the potential buyers, who can qualify for these tighter mortgage lending scenarios that we're seeing. So there are the people in the upper income above 100,000 who are still holding on to their jobs. I mean, unemployment's maybe 10 or 15% in that class, so it's not great, but it's not as bad as the potential 40% or 30% that you're seeing in the lower income stratifications. So there are opportunities, and to be aware of the emotions and the state of the market and be able to educate and empathize with clients, I think is going to be the foundation for thriving as we go through this. So Jen, if you could pull up the next slide, we're going to focus the discussion on what the potential opportunities are. And Jewel, I'd like to bring you in to kind of discuss the emotional opportunities of acting, like you said, a pseudo therapist, obviously not practicing psychotherapy, but just identifying with clients on that level.
Absolutely. Don't go tell people you're a therapist if you're not, okay? We'll come for you. We therapists, we don't like that. No, just joking. But the skills that we have are so transferable, right? These are skills that are transferable and definitely in your world, in your family, in other sectors of business, culture, religion. These are very transferable skills, and they're people skills, right? They're interpersonal relationship skills. And ultimately what it's coming down to today, and what it's pretty much always been, is people want to know that you truly care. And there really is a shift, even culturally, socially, in business, and being able to ask people, how do you feel? And being open to ask them about these more sensitive topics around COVID-19. How do you feel? How's that been impacting you? And you may not make this the bulk of your conversation, but you may. If your goal is to really build rapport, just showing people that you care and using these tools. And so these are some of the tools, just briefly, that I want to share with you. And some people may say, you know what, that's old hat. But it's the fundamentals that make greats. They talked about Michael Jordan. I don't know if you all just saw The Last Dance, this documentary, this series. You know, I saw one of them. And one of the things they showed about Michael Jordan was that he would be there for so long, even after practicing just a jump shot, right? Basic jump shot, dribbling, just the fundamentals over and over again. So I want to go over those with you all, some of the fundamentals on how to build a therapeutic rapport with your client. And I'm sure many of you are already very good at this, but just to go over them. The first one, it's active listening, right? So really doing more listening than talking when it's appropriate, just to give the client an opportunity to really share. And there's a difference of just active listening, yeah, got it, and thinking about what you're going to say next, to really active listening, to really listening deeper without an agenda in mind, but focusing on them, of what are they sharing with me right now, and what may they not be sharing right now. As a therapist, it's important for me to track with body language, with eye contact, with mannerisms, with vocal tone, intensity, their body position toward me or away. And I get it's, you know, on Zoom or on the phone, but there's so much that you can still gather by actively listening for what they're saying or not saying, a quiver in their voice, etc. And then the other thing is to actually ask them about feelings, you know, anger or sadness or trudging. We had some good ones here. Stressed, excitement, hopeful, to really get an emotional tone of working with your clients. And that's something that anybody can ask anybody. But for many of your clients, they have not earnestly been asked how they feel. And when we talk about feelings, for many people, that goes right to the core of who they are, from person to person connection. They haven't been asked truly how they feel in the last, day, week, maybe for some months, maybe for some even longer. So to be able to do that first thing of active listening, right, and also being able to directly ask them how they feel and to be able to actually insert some feelings, because they might come back with a thought. Say, well, how do you feel? They say, well, I can't believe this is going on, right? A belief, that's a thought. They're in their head. We want you to get them in their body, somatic, in their heart, soma, meaning body, right? Having them actually go inside and check in. Why? First off, so they can get present with themselves, but second off, so they can see you as a trusted confidant who cares. That action for many people will show that you genuinely do care. There's a lot of people out there that don't have a therapist. They can't talk to their husband or wife about how they really feel for whatever reason, and they feel alone, and they feel hopeless in many cases and desperate, even if they don't present it on the outside. Many successful people come into therapy, etc., deeply struggling inside. So you can be a lifeline. I'm telling you, those two things alone as fundamentals can be game changers. So I just wanted to share that as far as a skill set that has been helpful over time and can be very helpful to you over time. I want to get back to there's some other points I want to get to, but I'll pause there for now.
Great, thank you, Joel. And the emotional intelligence and awareness is definitely something to practice internally as well. And on the business side of things, how to thrive doing that. Livia, I know Joel has brought up the idea of, fear or a limiting belief. And when it comes to business, I think especially in real estate sales, their limiting belief or the fear is, I am not earning commissions. I'm not making deals. Like, how am I going to keep my business running? So what were some of the actions that people can take with that emotional intelligence to look at their business to kind of game plan out, okay, this is uncertain. It may be getting better, but this could happen again. So what could I do moving forward to review how I'm spending money or holding money and those types of things?
Yeah, so it's really just getting a mindset of how you can keep your business running, even if this doesn't happen again, or if it does happen again. So it's, to the fundamentals of looking at what are certain costs that you can look to reduce within your business. What are new different ways that you can promote your business without actually utilizing any cost? A great example is social media. Social media is free. It's a great way to promote your business. There's also definitely other ways you can get free software to send little, voicemail messages or video messages out to your clients to connect with them. The biggest thing that I want to say is that to recover through this, and I know that Mark Cuban, if any of you are familiar with him, he's the guy on Shark Tank. This guy is a bigwig in the business world. One of the things that he mentioned was that those businesses who are connecting with their customers, who are connecting from the heart, they're being empathetic and who are listening to the customers, are the ones who will recover out of this. Because as you reach out and connect to your customers, and as Jules said, you're empathetically listening to them, asking them feelings, you will then start to get new opportunities that will come out of the blue. So for example, you may have a client that you have sold a property to a while ago, and you just reach out to them and connect with them and use the guidance of what Jules showed of asking them how they feel, ask them how they're doing. And maybe they start to tell you, you know what, I'm actually realizing now that I would like to sell my property and get a smaller property in San Francisco. But you would never have that, ability to learn that if you'd not just reach out to them, connected with them, and ask them how you feel. You are a leader of your business. And as a leader, you're there to help be a soundboard, not only for yourself and making sure you have that oxygen, but for those that you lead as well. So it's utilizing these tools to really help keep you in a space where you can be grounded, you can connect, but also taking yourself forward and really planning. The leaders who make sure that they continually connect with their customers, that build new relationships with new customers, are the leaders who thrive during times of crisis. We've seen it historically over and over and over again. So it's about that ability to be comfortable with the change, even though it feels uncomfortable doing it, but also knowing how you feel and learning the tools to help you as a leader be able to adapt out of this. So this is what I would say is just as a leader and as a business person, as a salesperson, what are steps to really help you through going through this right now, even though there's so much uncertainty.
Yeah, it's fabulous and really good points as well. And I find that in order to become comfortable with change and adapting and innovating is one thing, but then continuing to do it and stick with it despite the uncertainty or feeling as if, this I may feel like a fraud or something's not going right or whatever. But Jewel, I'm just guessing, but what are the other points that you were going to raise? Are they about being grounded or coming at it from a holistic perspective? What would you add to that?
Yes, absolutely. So now is the time for action, folks. And I understand and I see that there is and I just love that word, trudging. That's going to stick with me I want to use that when someone asks me how I'm doing, because I feel trudging too. There's a motivational kind of program that I do on a daily basis. And there's times when I feel trudging. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to wake up early. But the motivation and the discipline to get it done anyway. Because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing for business. And I feel good in doing it. So right now, there's very much a reversal, especially with high performing individuals in teams. It's not always the feeling that's going to lead to or dictate the action, right? And actions do have to be taken at this time and in business around this shift. But the feeling the action can produce the feeling. So it's the reverse. So even though folks may not be feeling that good, when we're talking about thriving and we're talking about high performance, we're talking about being able to take action in order to produce the feeling. So this is very much a reversal of the first session that a bit of anyway, on the emotional piece. It's really, how do you, by taking action, go ahead and produce the feelings that you want to feel and that your clients want to feel. And there are some practices, Justin, you put down there, meditation being a big one, journaling, deep breathing, spending time out in nature. And I know people are at different places with the shelter in place and in even different states, et cetera. States are opening up, states are closed. But if you can, getting out in nature, eating healthy meals, making sure that you get an adequate amount of sleep, checking in with yourself emotionally, keeping your appointment with your therapist or coach or your success team. Your success team could be the difference between a make or a break. So when I think about if you're going at it alone versus the person that's going at it that maybe has a therapist, has a coach, has a network of friends or associates where you can really open up, talk about challenges, and then help each other validate it first and foremost, and then find resolution and mindset shifts to it. These are often the people that can move through challenges quicker, pivot with agility, and move right back into a leadership stance. So when we talk about wellness practices, that's also one. There's many people I meet with, and I say, well, do you have this? Do you have that? And they're no. And they're trying to move through life alone. That boulder I was talking about, they're trying to push it alone versus having 10 people on their squad, on their team to try and help them get the job done. So all of these things, those wellness practices, plus having your success team in place, can all help you very much gain that level of certainty of how you want to show up. That's something that's in your control right now, even with all the uncertainty around us. How you want to orient to what's going on right now can produce massive success or stagnation. But there's actually, if I could mention one more piece, or should we come back, Justin and Livia?
I was going to move on to the thriving portion, Jen.
Yes, let's get there. Yep, I'm good. That's where I wanted to go. Yep.
I thought so. All right, so what potential opportunities are out there? And our goal today is to instill in everybody attending the empowered feeling of being able to approach change in a grounded way and do so authentically, holistically, and taking care of yourself through the process. So I want all of you in attendance to think about ways that you think there are potential opportunities for your business to thrive. So Jen, if we could go to the next slide and just get people keyed into thriving. Like, what potential things can I do today to get further down that path to thriving? And Livia, since Jewel had the last crack at the previous question, I'd like to open this up to you to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so those who are thriving are those who have others who are supporting them do it. It's very difficult to push a boulder up a hill by yourself, but it's really easy to do it when you've got a whole group of people behind you that help or pushing you along the way. So, think of opportunities right now, and I'm opening this up to all of the attendees here. What are new type of ways that you can connect to maybe someone you've never connected with to help you thrive? So examples are in the areas that you look and you're selling property in, are there certain type of services, sort of vendors, the restaurants, dry cleaners who are there that you might be able to start having and building connections with and partners with to help you grow your business? What are other ways that you can connect with people you've never met with before? Maybe there's photographers who are looking for support. Maybe, right now there's a lot of people who are unemployed. I had a client who was, unfamiliar with social media. And I said, you know what, there's a lot of people who are young, who are on social media all the time, would be more than happy to work with you, even as an internship type of basis to support your business. So what are opportunities? So virtual stagers is a great one. What are other things that you can see? And this could be something that you've kind of had the thought back of your mind, like maybe I want to try this out, or, because you want to come down to, I like to really think about it as a leader of a business, as a salesperson of a business, as a realtor, you came into doing this work for a reason. There's a core mission of why you love selling properties. Is it the excitement of you getting to design this house in a way that people are just in awe? Or is it, getting to sell it to that newlywed couple that you get to see them grow in this place, or get to see someone who's got kids be able to grow their kids there, or someone who's new and it's their first investment home? Like, these are things that you want to start to look at in ways that what your client is, but how you can add more resources to your toolkit to help you thrive. Videographers are great too. Like, maybe you can create a day in the life of living in the neighborhood. Those are things that are new, they're thrive, they're innovation, there's things you can have fun with. They're ways that you can be able to thrive. So start to think of that for you as coming up with ideas where, picture yourself in your client's shoes and in their excitement about this new home that they're going to purchase. And what are the things they might be super excited about? Like, maybe you can even go into a house that has a giant closet and you can do a video chatting about all the great stuff that you can put in that closet. Like, these are things you want to start to think about, and how to thrive and how to have fun and who you can partner with to be able to do that. Maybe there's someone who sells shoes and you can get their shoes and promote them to do the same thing. This is where you want to start to have fun with it. And this is where you start to thrive, because when you come from a place that you are having fun in your business, it shows to your clients. And when your clients see that, they see that you're leading from a place that, even though there's a lot of uncertainty, that you enjoy what they do and they want to jump on board with what you got. And this is how it keeps you thriving as a business person every single time anything happens.
That's awesome, Livia. And I want to hand it off to Jewel. I know we're getting close to the top of the hour, but I definitely wanted to give people a chance to chime in. So if you do have any questions or any issues, or you're want some action items, we're going to ask you what action items you can commit to today to help you thrive through this process. And as sort of an accountability thing, definitely put it in the chat, the Q&A. What are one or two things that you can commit to, whether it's journaling every morning, meditating, breathing, exercising, calling the past clients, going on social media, opening an account and getting started? What can you do each day that you're willing to commit to today? And Jewel, I heard a couple of things in Livia's comment that I'd like to put back on you, which are what I believe are the law of attraction and the law of abundance. So how can people thrive moving forward using that emotional intelligence?
You know what? Absolutely. Law of attraction and law of abundance. And when we tie that into this whole hero's journey kind of blueprint or map of the spirit of the soul or one's personal transformation, we talked about number one, the call. Number two, really that transformational. It's kind of like the dark night of the soul kind of experience where you're really trying to struggle and figure out new ways to pivot and approach a challenging situation. The third piece, right, when we're talking about thriving, right, is about, they call it the homecoming. It's when you're coming back home from that journey. And that's very much about what this is here today, is how do you come out of this journey and continue to engage with the world, in the business world, with new skills, new tactics to thrive. So just in that vein, being able to embody this energy of abundance and law of attraction and tie it into what Justin was saying about specific actions. This is the time, folks, when we talk about, you can think about going to the gym and just kind of looking at all the weights, right? Won't get the job done. I know they got some nice TVs at the gym, right? Some good shows on at the gym when people used to go to gyms, right? But it's when we really start to work out and put in that work and that effort is when we really see the results. So I'm curious, at this being that part, this accountability part, if in the chat box, this is where I really want you to perk up and take action and think about what is a action step that you could take for your mental health that would likely help you feel good in the next 7 days. This is the workout portion, folks. This is the going to task part, folks. So in the chat box, what's one action that you'd be willing to take just on your mental health? We're going to get to business next, but right now, just on your mental health for the next 7 days, not even 24 hours, 48 hours, got 7 days to do it. What's one thing that you would like to do as an action step for your own mental health that would lead you uniquely, no matter what's going on around you, society or family, it's powering down on this one thing within the next 7 days, okay? So we have journaling each day, okay? We have meditating coming up for 10 minutes. Definitely want to hear from some more people in our wonderful audience, something that you would like to do, action focused, to focus on your mental health going forward. Okay, mindful eating, good one, very good one. Relationship with food and the body. Curious for others, I want you to dig deep, whether it's journaling or meditating, going on a walk, mindful eating, something that you're willing to commit to. Next 7 days is what comes to mind. Okay, take a mid-afternoon break consistently, folks. This is about taking concerted action to show up certain, to be able to create your reality, even with the uncertainty around us, that can impact your relationship with others. Full control. You have full control over these things. Good, good, good. The next thing is business-wise. Drink more water, less caffeine. Got it? What's one thing, you've heard many ideas. Livia's thrown out many ideas. Justin's thrown out many ideas. Going for a walk every day. That you can do, that you would like to do, that you will commit to doing in your business. Listen to videos that I ordered a year ago about helping the buyers and sellers, taking a walk each day to refresh. Okay, we're getting there on time. I know that. What's one action that you are willing to take in the next 7 days in your business that will help you? What is going on? My voice is going up. There we go. I must be getting really excited. That can help you in the next 7 days. Feel
I love
better.
it. Sending homemade masks to my clients. That is an awesome one. That is a really awesome one.
Definitely. Livia, jump in on that.
I, make more phone calls with past clients, keep the positive vibes going. This is awesome. So this is how you thrive. This is what you do, is you have the control of you. You can lead your business into any direction that you desire to go. You know, finish the content updates for launch of a site. Awesome. Great. Just consider that in the next 7 days. What are the business actions that you've got? If you don't share it here, you know, write it down now. Make that action to write that thing down now and implement it. And you will be able to take your business into levels you never thought about. This is awesome. This is very awesome. So this is where you take a situation that it feels like you have no control over, and you can have control to be able to take your life and your business to new levels, to thrive no matter what. This is how you create your business plan. It's a combination of you working on you, you know, doing the work, doing the emotional stuff, with also the business task, and helping support you in this combination each and every single day, and getting those connections, you know, the coaches, you know, coaches like myself as a business coach, coaches like Jewel, you know, we're here to support you to thrive, because when you thrive, we all thrive together. And that's why we are here today and excited to see you thrive, even though it seems uncertain. But we know that you made the effort today to be here, and that you are determined to thrive. And I can see that you will make that happen for yourself. So I'd like to just give it back over to you, Justin. I know we're running a little late here.
That's all right. You know, this is really good stuff. And I'm just very cognizant that all of our attendees are probably raring to go, because Jewel, Livia, you got them so hyped up to go out there and start thriving and thinking about how can they improve. And I just want to let everybody know, Jewel and Livia would love to hear from you. So if you do want to follow up and continue this conversation with them, please reach out to them. Jewel Love champions mental health, licensed psychotherapist, and Livia Jenvey, owner and operator of Jenvey Consulting, business coach and strategist. So this is the final installment for us, and you can reach out to them or myself after this. Please don't be shy. Your network is your net worth, as Livia reminded us during one of our meetings. So I want you to encourage you to reach out, build your network, reach out to people, and check in with yourself. Give yourself some love. And before we go, Jen, if we could just go to the second to last slide, please. I'd like to welcome all of you to participate in another mindfulness moment. So if we could just take all of that good energy that we're feeling right now and take a deep breath in and breathe in that life energy, and exhale. Just feel how good it is to show up for yourself, to take action, to be open to change, to being willing to change and ask the hard questions, and then to check in with yourself and move forward from a place of abundance and love and whole grain emotions. Jewel, I want a t-shirt that says whole grain emotions. And, you know, I think I just want to leave that with all of you. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other's family and friends, and go out and make it a great day. I want to, on behalf of Jewel, Livia, and myself, I want to thank SFAR. I want to thank Patrick. I'd like to thank the leadership, and you, most importantly, our attendees. So again, please reach out to all of the panelists if you have questions, and I will let you get on with your afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. Take care.